Do you think the Prime Minister needs to intervene on this censorship in Australia by Facebook?
Absolutely he does. I mean, you know, Scott Morrison doesn't get too much good press these days, but look, quite a number of things Scott Morrison did that was admirable was to stand up to big tech. You remember he told them, he said, look, you should pay for news content rather than just stealing it from Australian news companies. And he won that battle. And he took them to task again more recently, Google and Apple, for making it so hard for parents to monitor their kids' internet use online. You know, he went to battle to persuade them to put the tools up that would allow parents to do that, which is all perfectly reasonable. So governments can stand up to them. And I think in this case, this is a chance for Anthony Albanese to show what a great statesman he is. I mean, he's obviously in favour of the Voice himself. He probably have some sympathy with whoever it is in Silicon Valley who's decided to censor the No case. But he has to understand this is the integrity of our democracy at stake. That if we're going to have a genuine debate leading up to the referendum, then yes, both sides of the argument must be fully heard. And in any case, this is a matter of sovereign rights, isn't it? I think this is a matter of saying to them, you will not interfere in our political affairs here, which is essentially what Facebook is doing. If you do, there will be consequences. And that's what I'd like to hear from the Prime Minister.
Well, we are talking about a change to our constitution here, and that is a voice, an Indigenous voice to Parliament. But there's another change to the Constitution that could be a whole lot more useful in these circumstances. That'd be a First Amendment. What do you reckon?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We suffer from not having one, don't we? I mean, I've felt it up to now that it's good that we don't need one. You know, I think it is just a given that free speech exists in this country. It's an implied constitutional right or whatever it's called. We've never really had to bother about it probably until the last 15 or 20 years, and much more intently in recent years. And I think that the arrival of big tech and social media changes things completely. It's extraordinary that major decisions... I mean, it's not just the no case against the Voice that's been silenced by social media. It was the no case against vaccine mandates. That was silenced too. The no case against lockdowns. As you know, they went to war on those people too. Anything that doesn't fit the establishment narrative, and generally the left establishment narrative, gets focused on and taken down. This genuinely is, Fred, I think, a big tech taking sides and going to war against conservatives. And every conservative should be very concerned about it.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're also right in observing that things have changed in recent years, especially since the advent of social media, because, you know, traditionally we didn't really need a First Amendment because Australians just understood on a sort of cultural level, not a constitutional level. We just understood that it was wrong to shut people up, to give everyone a fair go, as we like to say. But since we've all become so obsessed with social media, I think that on a cultural level, that idea's kind of slipped away, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the game has changed completely, and it's a real threat to our democracy and our freedom of speech. There's no doubt about that. And
yeah.
It's like if somebody gets taken down on Facebook these days, you hardly blink an eyelid, do you? Because it's so commonplace. We're in danger of actually getting immunised against this. And we've got to realise what a terrible thing is being done when we silence free speech of any kind, but certainly when, you know, honestly held opinions on relevant matters, policy matters of the day are shut down because, you know, whoever it is up there in Silicon Valley or whatever supports the other side.
Yeah.
That is, I just find that really serious. Really serious.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.